Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, people of Facebook world. I'm wearing headphones today, but I don't actually need to wear them because I've got no one to speak to because TJ's feeling poorly. So do send a care emoji out to TJ. It's a headache, so it's nothing too bad, but we don't want to make it any worse, so he won't be joining me on this live stream. But to replace him, I've got TJ the Tiger. And as you may notice with TJ the Tiger, TJ's actually a leopard. Yeah, you are. TJ the Tiger says he feels like a tiger, so he will be replacing TJ the Tiger at the moment because leopards can't change their spots. Which is interesting, judging people by appearance, because we will be doing the show this week on about judging others, which isn't a great thing to do, is it? No. Okay. This show still is aimed at 7 to 11-year-olds, but if any 5-year-olds are watching, TJ the Tiger will be very excited to wave at you as well, and maybe he'll do some shout-outs as well. He can't speak, he won't be able to do any shout-outs, so there we go. But the time is 2 o'clock. Yes, it's time to roll the intro. This is the intro we did for the show, but we're not musical, as you may know. So we'll keep it just for a bit, as we do have words that kind of fit. If you can, make a better one, send it in, and that'll be fun, because we'll use it, get everyone laughing, because this one is embarrassing. TJ, I thought you could dance at this bit. No. TJ, are you dancing? No, I'm not. So come along and watch us code, make some stuff, and help you know that not much rhymes with draft will make game for a laugh. Yeah. There we go. It's not starting soon. It is started. Boom. There we go. Boom. So without TJ to guide me, although he will be watching the chat. TJ is everywhere. The real one, not the tiger cheetah hybrid. We're going to do the show today, and we're going to be showing you some coding stuff, and I will be helped by TJ the Tiger, because the real TJ isn't here, but unfortunately mainly just to press spacebar like that, because I've lost use of my left hand for some reason. Yes, that is unfortunate. So on with the coding of the show. I'm gonna because TJ is watching the chat, I'll just see if he messages me anything important, and he says okay. So I don't know if that's a response of how he's feeling or a response to the fact of I'm going to be live in a second. So there we go. Right. Sorry, TJ the Tiger will have to help me with my phone case here. Go on, TJ. Well done. Right. There we go. Beautiful. So I can see if the real TJ is able to comment. We're going to be making a game about judging others. Now, judging others has been... I'm going to get rid of him for the moment. Judging others has been in the news a lot because of the Black Lives Matter movement. People really starting to take a proper stand in equality, treating people fairly, not based on how they look, not based on their gender and other things like that. Sort of to treat people the same, but with the Black Lives Matter, concentrating on race and the fact that just because someone looks different to you, has a different skin tone to you, doesn't mean that they should behave a certain way, doesn't believe they should be treated a certain way, and they should have the same opportunities open to everybody else. And so that's something we at Impact Gamers support. We really support people being fair and things happen fairly, and that's why we do a lot of our work for free, because we don't want to make it that if you can have money you can do fun stuff at Impact Gamers, even if you don't have money you can't. That's why we do loads of our stuff for free, and that's why we do a lot of our stuff in West Bowling and Bradford, because we really want to invest in those places where people don't have computers that they can use at home and don't have the opportunities to learn how to code. So thank you guys for watching. We'll get on with it. So click Team Fusion's here, and we're going to start a new application. Just a long word for app. Going into frame 1, we are going to judge others. So we need a game about thinking about how to judge and how looking at things doesn't give you the right answer. So I think I'm going to start off making some different items. So I'm going to make a box, and I don't have the other TJ to draw it beautifully, but I will do my best. Here we go. We will make this a red box, and just to make it seem like a box, I'll give it a lid and maybe a lock on it as well. So let's put that there, and a ellipse tool and filled in. That's just a circle, ellipse, posh word for that. And then we got the polygon tool, where we can join up any shape we want by ending with a double click, and it joins up. There we go, got a box, and that's huge. Right, so we were going to call this box 1. Now, when we're programming, it's really useful if we've got multiple things to say what the item is and then say about it. So if I called this the red box, and then I have the blue box, the green box, the yellow box, and stuff like that, when I sorted them in alphabetical order, they're not going to be all together. They'll be split between other things. But if I call it box red, box yellow, box green, then in alphabetical order, they'll all be together. Now, me putting a number 1 here is useful in Click Fusion because I will show you. I'm just going to click once again, resize it down to a better size. There we go. I'm going to place it into a qualifier, into a group, and I think collectibles has a picture of a box, which is useful. I'm going to click once and press C. Where is it? Collectibles. It is. It's a picture of a chest, and I will shove that in. And so there we go. We've got box 1. Now, if I clone the box to make multiple versions, let's say 6. Should we say 6? I'm sure I can think of 6 different colours. You can see they're now labelled box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5. And I didn't bother labelling them with colours because the fact is the icon shows me that. So I'm just going to fill these in. Just make the tolerance maybe a little bit higher. I've gone out of rainbow formation here, ladies and gentlemen, which is... Rainbow formation is always just a nice, neat way to know what colours you've done. I've got green and yellow the wrong way around. We'll go blue, and then purple. Blue box. And then a purple. Now, Click Fusion has this limited range of a colour palette. Now, a colour palette... Oop. A colour palette is just a range of... options that you can choose from, and so this is the palette. This is like when you're painting, you'd have a paint set with different colors. This is the palette of choice. Now, if you want to have more colors than this, you can double click on the color and you can go to custom, and then you can start to choose any. But it's really useful, a quick way to grab the common used colors in Click Fusion games to just left in that palette. So here we go, we've got all these boxes here. Now, the thing about judging others is you see the outside and you think you know what they're like inside. And this is why I thought I'd use boxes for this game. Boxes are a classic thing. I have boxes in my attic. I go up into my attic. They're not labelled. I'm like, oh, this box looks important. You open it up and it's full of clothes that don't fit any of your kids. And you'll open another box and it's full of old computer games, which obviously are important. And you know, to actually hold a computer game, wow, that's how retro is that. So the boxes will represent the things that we want, and we won't know what's in the boxes. So I need some way to get the player to think about what's inside without actually opening the box, to get them to prejudge what the box is about. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have it that the boxes actually move, that they judder, that they shake, and that there's a certain shape movement that is the right movement for your to know what you want inside. So you've got to actually pay attention to what they do. And that's the thing about judging others, is that when we prejudge, we have prejudice. Okay, prejudging, we have prejudice, and we start to think, oh, that's good and that's bad before we even sample it. But when we actually see what people do, when we see how they actually behave and why they're doing the things that they're doing, then we can have a better understanding of who they are. We get rid of our prejudice because we haven't prejudged them, and then we actually know how they should behave, how they're behaving, and how they probably are inside by their actions. But we don't always know, do we? Sometimes you see someone's actions, see them shouting at somebody, and you think, oh, they're really angry. But then you find out what the person's done, and you think, oh, no, actually maybe they did need to shout. So I need some movement for these. So a little bit odd, because the computer will need to move them. I don't want them any of the movements that Click Fusion gives me, so I'm going to leave them as this static movement. We're gonna generate some movement, and also I need a pattern of movement. Now, last week we developed a list for our priority game, that we had a list of what objects drop down. So I think I'm going to do that I'm going to create a list of movement for for the boxes that they can follow. So I'm going to make a list, and I'm going to use just code for here. So I'm going to use up, U for up, and D for down, L for left, R for right. And I think I'll leave it like that. So up, down, left, right. There we go. You all right? Good. At least have one visitor, bit of company. TJ the tiger hasn't said much here, so I'll just pick him up off the floor and leave him there for the moment. And we've got that list up, down, left, right. Now we can modify this list at any point. If I click twice, I can change this list. I could change the order. It could go up, 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 down, up, 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 down. So it can go in any different order. But I'll leave it as just up, down, left, right to see if I can get the movement of the boxes working. So the boxes will need to, I'm just going to select them all. I'll need to get them to count what movement they are on. So I'm going to change the alterable value, which as... What's that, TJ the tiger? Yes, alterable values are just a value that alters. Makes sense now. So I'm going to call this movement number. Oh, movement type maybe. Movement type, and then movement number. This is the order of which they'll be on. Movement number, and then I will also I'll leave it at that for the moment. I think. Oh no, actually, next move. Okay, so we're going to use these three different alterable values set up, and we'll leave this as list 0. Okay. Now, the reason I call this list 0 is by default their movement type is set to 0, and I'm going to use their movement type to choose how they behave. So there'll be some other lists, list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, and so we'll leave it at 0. So I'm just going to set a very simple rule, and I'm going to say every second I want any of the collectibles, that's all the boxes, or this icon here, this chest, I want any of the boxes to add to their movement type. Alt values add to no movement number. So they start counting. And if we run the application, we can have a quick look at that in this debug window here. So if I look at the global values of a box, so I'll just find box 1, that's our red box, and look at ultra values, you'll see that every second it's going up. It's just counting by itself. Great. So I'll get it to go up, and then when it's going up, I will get it to actually check what movement it should be doing. So this list has list row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, up, down, left, right. So every second add 1 to the movement number. Then I want its alterable. Ooh, I need to do one more thing. I'm going to get them to load off the list their own alterable string. Now a string is not a number, it's a letter. It can be a number, but if you were to add a string which was a letter A to a letter A, you wouldn't get B, you'd get AA if you add them together. And if you had a string that was 1 and 1, you wouldn't get 2 if you added them together, you'd get 11. So it's the word version of a value. So alterable string, and we will call the alterable string movement direction. Okay, so I want to add 1 to the movement number, then I want to get it to set the alterable string to be, let's have a look here, we want to load this movement direction, we want to load it off the list. Now we want to get line, get current line, current line number, get line. Yes, I think we want to get line, and the line number we want to get is whatever our movement, oh you can't see that, I'm in the way, whatever our alterable values of our movement number is. So as we count 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll work through those directions. And so if we have a look at the debug window, I'll have to be quick within 4 seconds to do this. Alterable strings, up, down, left, right, and then it goes blank. Now, if we have a blank one, then we obviously have got to the end of the list. So if we've got to the end of the list, we need to restart the list. So we need to say new condition that if our collectibles if their strings, compared to one of the strings, if their string of movement direction is equal to nothing, so just that, and those are speech marks, so it's 2 speech marks that nothing has been said, then at that point you're at the end of the list, or you haven't loaded the list, one or the other. But either way, you're at the end of the list, which means that we can set our movement number that we're counting up back down to 0. Let's see how that works. So it should go up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. So it's counting 3, 4, got back down to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's have a look at the ultra strings. Okay, up, down, left, right, blank, up, down, left, right. I'm not sure I want a blank there. I think I want to go straight back, and that's the 1 second gap that we've got here out of these 2 rules, that when we get back to the end it sets the movement type to 0, but it doesn't reload what it's got. So I think I'm going to set an action, an event just, and I'm going to call it next action. Am I going to do that? No, I'm not going to do that. And the reason I'm not going to do that is I've got so many different boxes, and I'll have more boxes, more and more boxes as the levels go on, that we need to check what's inside. That if I do that there, it's just going to check all the boxes. So I'm going to do it on this rule, because this rule says when the collectible's movement direction is nothing, then set it to 0. And that will only be that one box that it looks at a time, and it'll be the right thing. What? I think you're right, Tiger TJ. It's time for the chocolate challenge. And have you thought of one? Great, let me know. So for this chocolate challenge, we want you to comment in the comments, and if TJ is watching poorly as he is, he will let you know if you have won, and you can privately message us your address in order to win. Oh, it's just a classic Galaxy, can't read, Galaxy Smooth Milk. There we go. Woo. We'll send this to you if you live in the UK, and yeah, we're not paying American postage. And the question is, just a reminder, is why do you think people judge other people by the way they look? It's a deep one. It's a deep one today. Why do you think we use looks to judge other people? Now, we just want your thoughts on this, about how you think our minds work, or why you think that looks are important. So why do you think we judge people by the way they look? Why are looks important? Why does it change the way we think about people by the way they look? Okay, see if you can answer that very deep one for the chocolate challenge this week. Okay, so I'm going to get this rule here, these add one to movement line, and set the text. I'm going to change this. Rather than set it back to 0, I'm going to set it to 1, because that's the first of the list. The list starts at number 1 and it goes 2, 3, 4, 5 through 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, you can count. Set the movement to 1, and then we're going to get, I'll just copy it, I'll click twice. This is the event list editor. This tells us what's happening in what order. Okay, and it's just here that we can access all the rules that the computer goes through in what order. So I'm just going to copy this rule and paste it here, so I get the exact same rule, and put it in that order. Okay, good. So that should, if I go back to normal, if I run the application, we should have up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. Here we go, which is UD. So good, 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbers are counting fine up there. That's good, and the strings are going left, right, up, down, left, right. Great, fantastic. Good, and that's working its way through. So all those boxes will be behaving exactly the same, which is not what's going to happen later on. But for today, we just want to get their movement. So we're going to say new condition that if the ultra value of the box, if the ultra value of the box, if the ultra string of the box, if it's equal to up, then we're going to move it up. I'm just going to drag this down, and just then I can click twice and change it really quickly. Left. Ooh, syntax error. Okay, syntax is the order of which you put things. It can't understand me writing a number 1 for a string because 1 is not a string, but 1 with inverted commas is a string. Okay, and it wasn't a 1, it was an L. So L isn't a string without the inverted commas. So I need to put my strings within inverted commas, and that's common in programming the world over, that your strings need to go in speech marks up, and let's put it in order, down, left, right. And if it's up, then we want to position. We want to set the position going up, but we don't know where the box started from. That's going to lead us into an error. Let's just watch what happens. So no, let's not. I know what's going to happen. It will just keep on going up. If it was up, 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 it would keep on going up, 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 and never come back down. So we need to know where the box started from. So I'm going to say at the very start of the game, right at the beginning, we're going to record each box where it is. Now each box needs to have its own reference, its own x, y coordinates, position on the screen. So I'm going to use the x and y ultraval values. So at the start of frame, I'm going to set the ultraval values. I'm going to set it to be the x ultraval value to be whatever the position, the x coordinate of the box is. Great. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to use that in a second. And then I'm going to set the position. No, I'm not going to set the position. I want the values. I'm going to set. You can easily make a mistake here. Concentrate. I will concentrate, TJ. Don't you worry about it. Set the y value to be the y version. Now what I'm done here is I'm just changing x to y because I know that function. Oh, a function is a piece of code that somebody else has written, and that it allows you to put in a sort of question and get an answer out. So I'm sending a function of find the y coordinate for the group collectibles, and it will give me back a number here. So that those words get replaced by a number. That's what functions often do. Give you a number back. It might give you a string back, but give you a value back there. Okay, so set the x and y to there. Then if the movement is up, I want to set the position, set the x coordinate. I want to set it to whatever the x coordinate originally was, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is, oh, let me move it so we can actually see. Boop. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be from the value we just got. So we know where it started off with the x coordinate because we've just said at the start of the game, record the x and y coordinates in the x value and y value. So we're going to retrieve that value, and if we're going up, we can just leave it the x coordinate to be the x coordinate. Fine. But what we need to do is we need to set the position, we need to set the y coordinate to be whatever the y coordinate is, and I'll just copied and pasted it at the same time. And we need to take away, now I'm going to take away 32, classic binary number there. Binary, it's the numbers that the computer counts up in rather than tens and hundreds. It counts up in binary, so it counts up in 2, 4, 6, no, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. It's just the way the computer counts. And it allows it, because it can only know if something's on or off, it can't have sort of 9 different figures like we can, so it just has a 0 and a 1, and then that's it. Right, so up we're going to minus 32 because 0 is at the top in Clicked Infusion. Down we can copy that, and we just need to plus the 32 because that is the opposite. Left, we're going to do this, and we're going to not change the y position at all. So let me do that. I have a message. Is it from TJ? It might not be from TJ. This could be very disappointing. It's probably not from TJ. Your parcel will be delivered on the 23rd of June, ladies and gentlemen. That's tomorrow. Exciting times. You're going to get a parcel, possibly some shelves for the shed. Okay, so we want the y coordinate just to be what it was at the beginning, and then we'll set the x coordinate to be minus 32 because 0 is on the left hand side of the screen. So 0 starts here and then it gets higher that way. So minus 32, and so if we want to go the opposite direction rather than minusing 32, we are, that's right, oops, on the x coordinate. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to add 32. Right, so now we should see all the boxes do a fantastic little shuffle. Ooh, look at the boxes go. Which makes me realise that 32 is probably a bit too much. Is it a bit too much? Probably not. It's probably not too much, but it's a bit crazy because they're all going. Now, the thing is, all the boxes are moving identically. That's not a problem. But in life, people don't do things at the same time as each other. So I'm going to mess with your heads a little bit here and allow the boxes their own choice of when they change. And that's why I included this next move thing. I was thinking ahead. I don't do much prep for this session, but I thought for 2 minutes about the next move value. So I'm going to say every second makes sense. Probably needs to be every second. Every second that the boxes think of a number. And I'm going to just say that if they manage to think of a number, of the values, if they manage to think of the number 1, then they can do their next move. Then this happens. Then we add 1 to their movement number and we do that. So rather than every second, only when they think of the number 1. And also we need to set this value. If we don't reset this value, they're going to be thinking of the number 1 all for too long. So next move back to 0. So if they think of the number 1, they add 1 to their movement, we set their string to match, and we select the next move back to 0 so it doesn't equal 1. So every second, I'm going to clear that, they just think of a number. So odd for values, we're going to set it to think of a random, random range between 1, or on the next move, between 1 and 3. So a 1 in 3 chance that they're going to do the next move. So now they're not going to be in sync with each other. So now working out this up, down, left, right movement is a lot harder. Now I think that it's a little bit slow, so we're going to speed it up a little bit and take it to every third of a second there. Well, roughly third of a second. There we go. Much more confusing. So there's a pattern that one of them's following, that the other one's following, but not at the same time. So this up, down, left, right. But if we follow the red, it goes down, left, right, up, down, left, right, up. Oh, it's leaving us hanging. Down, left, right. There we go. So we can see that it is moving around its original place, up, down, left, right. Now, for our game, we're going to make it so that we're going to build a little prejudice in here. We're going to have red boxes. I'm going to move these other boxes out. They're beautiful boxes, wonderful boxes, lovely boxes, but I don't want them. I'm going to shove them out here for the moment. And also, I think what we learned from last week, if we change the created at start on them, oh no, we won't do that. If we change created at start on them, then they won't exist there. But I'm going to leave them there for the moment because they're well out of the way. And I'm going to have these boxes here. Now, you may notice that one of the boxes looks a little different to the others. This is how we start the prejudice. In our game, we're going to have it that the red boxes are very, very likely to follow the right pattern. But the yellow box is also possible to follow the right pattern. But one box will not follow the right pattern. You know, it's probably not going to be the yellow, so that people start to build up a prejudice going, oh, it's not the yellow, but it could be the yellow. So we're going to make our game sort of this one life game where you have to make choices quite quickly, because that's what happens when we judge people. We judge them even without spending any time with them. So we're going to judge what's in the box quite quickly, and on average you're going to be okay if you press red, but it could be the yellow. If you pay attention, you'll get it right every time if you give it that little bit of time. But if we don't give it any time, we're going to get it wrong. So I'm going to create a second list here, and so I'm just going to clone this, and so this is list 1, and rather than up, down, left, right, we're going to have down, so right, left, up, down, right, left. Oh, that's subtly different, isn't it? So we had up, down, left, right. This is up, down, right, left. Okay, right. And also, we'll make another subtle difference. We'll just make a few different lists. So list 0 is the pattern that is okay, and then these lists are going to be wrong. So let's do down, up, which is obviously not the same, and do right, left, and then we'll do another one. And what have we not got? We haven't done right, down, left, up. Okay, good. Right, so we've got those different lists. So at the start of the game, I'm just going to get, for today, I'm just going to be, just make it that the yellow one moves a different pattern. But for the next session, we'll make it that any of them could be the odd one out, but it's more likely to be the yellow one. So that's be on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and hopefully TJ will join us. What? Yes. Yeah, no, you won't be here if he's there. Because you're a puppet. Okay, so hopefully TJ will be back replacing the inanimate objects that we've tried to replace him with. Okay, so we need to set what list is going to follow. So on the box, I'll do it on all the boxes because all of the boxes could have these. We're going to add in, and just add in these boxes, just holding shift so I can select more than one thing. Add in another alter value. Oh no, number two. Oh, I've got it. I'm not sorry. Movement type, I've already got it. At the start of the frame, we're going to set the yellow box to have a different movement type. So alter values set its movement type to be a random range. Ooh, in fact, actually, I could do it between 0 and list 3, couldn't I? Let's do that. Okay, and then what we need to do is we need to say that if next move equals 1 and movement type object values, movement values, their movement type, there we go. If it's 0, then we load them off list 0, great. But, boom, copy and paste, Control C, Control V. If they are movement type 1, 2, or 3, we're just going to edit this code a little bit, and we're going to get it to load off, not off list 0, but off list 1, and not off list 1 here, but off list 2, and not off list 3, but you got it, not off list 3, I'm just talking rubbish, ignore me, not off list 0, but off list 3. So depending on their movement type, they will move differently. Okay, and so it's quite tricky to see because they've all got the same icons. To solve that problem, you can just edit the icons, so you can just draw a big 0 on this, and then it will mean that when we're looking at our code, we can actually know what's happening. That's the 0 list, and then this one is list 1. I think we've run out of time already. Cool. And I'm slightly glad because I missed TJ. No, not you, the other TJ. All right, okay. And 2, and then 3. There we go, 1, 2, 3. So hopefully you had a chance to learn something about life, about the fact that I'm not very good at puppeteering, and TJ would say something wise at this stage, but he's not here to say that. Oh, do you want to say your final thing? No, speak into the mic. There we go, very wise words from TJ there. Right, I'm going to save this as judging others, and don't forget that our work is available at igamers.io, our website, impactgamers.net, and you can download Clicked Infusion from clickedinfusion.com. Okay, take care, and oh, wait a minute, bye-bye. I'll do that again, bye-bye. This is the intro. We did for the show, but we're not musical, as you may know. So we'll keep it just for a bit, as we do have words that kind of fit. If you can, make a better one, send it in, and that'll be fun, because we'll use it, get everyone laughing, because this one is embarrassing. TJ, I thought you could dance at this bit. No. TJ, are you dancing? No, I'm not. So come along and watch us code, make some stuff, and help you know that not much rhymes with draft will make game for a laugh. Yeah.